Hi, hello, how are you? Amanda, Seint artist, and we're gonna do our Seint makeup. You've been thinking about trying it, you wanna try it. More often than not, when I'm talking to people, they say, do I need the brushes? I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. Do I need to buy the brushes? Because the brushes are $40, but they are 2 brushes in one. These are my 2 ride or dies, but that's $80, and that is a good chunk. Even $40 can be a good chunk. So do you need the Seint brushes? I don't know. Let's try some traditional brushes. So I have my 3 brushes that I used to use a lot with my traditional makeup. All right, so the first brush is an e.l.f. brush. This is the Ultimate Blending Brush by e.l.f. Very affordable. You can get it at Ulta. You can get it at one of those grocery stores where they sell everything. Then I also have this brush. This one was great for contouring, great for concealers. I liked the shape of it and the way that it got into all the little areas. So this one is going to replace my detail brush. This is Kat Von D, got it at Sephora, so it's a good middle of the line brush. And then I have this blush brush by Chanel. Obviously this one's an expensive brush, so it should work great. I mean, it's expensive, right? Everybody attributes, if it's expensive, it's good. It's more than one of these brushes for this little thing. Okay, so we're gonna do our makeup. I'm gonna do my color correcting. I did some dermaplaning, and so my face is angry, and so we're gonna go in and do some color correcting. These are my color correctors. Not everyone needs them, but I thought, why don't I do it all? We're just doing the face, no brows, no eyes, no lips. Let's do the face using traditional brushes. So here's my correctors, and here's my traditional makeup. This is my foundation, concealer, my contour, and then these are the blushes I'm gonna use. I always use 2 because I have this discoloration right here, and if I don't use something like this, which is Saint Tropez, it's gonna pull my redness through because I love myself a bright pink, like this one is Sangria. All right, so let's go in. We're gonna start with the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. And I am gonna go into Aspen, and this is going to correct my redness. And I'm just gonna go over it, and it picks up very nicely, and I'm going into the inner corner. It just mutes down that redness. Now, the other day I did a Just Demi tutorial. And with that, I got a lot of people that, not a lot, I got some people who asked, now would you go over that with your 3D? No, because it is very creamy. So when I do this, which is all in my contour area and my blush area, it'll move the Demi. Demi's very creamy, it's very good, but I believe as it was intended to be a standalone product, it is. All right, so I've just taken that Aspen and draped it over my redness. You can still see it, but it's not red, which means it's gonna be easy to cover. Plus it's dense, so it's gonna stay where I have it. It's gonna help camouflage my large pores, which I do have, and it's super good for that. And so with the denseness, once I lay my makeup on it, it's also gonna hold my makeup in place. Next, I'm gonna go into Suede Lip Liner, and we're gonna go around my melasma here, and we're gonna bring it up and around, because I have melasma coming in over here. This I'm putting around it also to camouflage and hide the spot. I'm trying to hide the spot, and I'm gonna put it over here. I have some melasma coming in, and so I drape it in the exact same places, just mainly for balance. So I'm bringing it down my cheek, on my cheekbone, almost like a blush, and then I drape it up and around my brow, just like that. Super easy. Next, I'm just gonna use my finger. I usually use a Demi brush, but we're trying to not use any Seint brushes. So I'm gonna go into Y01, and I am going to correct this darkness right here with my finger. Demi is very creamy. I like using it under my eyes. I think it makes it brighter, and I like a good bright under eye. So we're just gonna add this to my inner corner where I'm dark. I like this because it corrects without adding texture. It corrects and it looks translucent. It doesn't make sense, but it's so good. It just brightens things up and it cancels out the darkness. Let's get into the makeup. So I'm using June as my main highlight, Versailles as my brightening, and Olive as my contour. So the first thing I'm gonna do with my e.l.f. brush is I'm gonna go into June. I'm gonna grab it, and I am going to put this on the lower part of my face, and I'm gonna bring it up over my redness or my discoloration that I muted down. I'm stippling this because I had used that Aspen contour and that Suede lip liner to correct, and I don't want to mix it up, so I'm just stippling over it to get the coverage I want. June is really nice because it has some green in it, which helps with covering rosacea. It's really great because I think I have a little bit of rosacea in there that I'm just in denial about maybe. So this gives me really good coverage. I will say it's laying, but also picking up. So I'm not getting quite as good of an application as I do with my Seint brushes. So again, over here, this is the only place I need to put my foundation, is where I have really just my problematic skin, which is my cheeks. I have an active blemish right here. And that June with that grain is gonna help cancel some of that redness out on my nose. And then right here is the only place where you don't contour, is this lower part of your face. So I'm just evening out my skin tones. I'm a little red here, so I'm just gonna take some of that June and I'm gonna go over it and cancel it out. That's how good it is. So sometimes you don't need Aspen, sometimes maybe you just need June. It really just depends on your skin tone and what you have going on, which is why a custom color match is key. So message me with a color-free, or not color-free, makeup-free picture, and we'll come up with a palette that works for you, because this palette, it ain't your palette. It's just mine, and your palette will be just yours. Okay, so let's get into contouring. I'm gonna go to my Kat Von D brush, and I am gonna go into Olive. We're gonna press it in, and I'm gonna go on the sides here, grabbing it, and I do like the shape of this brush. I do remember loving the shape of this brush. It just matches the structure of a skull really well, and I've just put it on just like I do. I'm putting everything on the same way, just different brushes. I'm gonna get into the top here, and I'm gonna go on either side of my nose. Either side of my nose, here and here, to contour. Gonna get the tip, and everything seems to be going on pretty darn good. So far I'm liking it. It just doesn't apply, it the same. Bringing it over the bridge. My bristles are, okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal with Seint brushes versus traditional brushes. Traditional brushes, like the ones I'm using, are really meant to be used with a liquid foundation. This is just me spitballing ideas. I'm gonna go into my brightening here with the e.l.f. brush. I'm spitballing ideas. Traditional brushes like these are meant to be used with liquid foundations, concealers, which are just really thick, and powders. And so I feel like they're breaking. I feel like my bristles are kind of coming off because they're not used to working with a heavy cream like this, because it's a high pigmentation and they are thick. I mean, they're not running. So the bristles are coming off a little bit in the makeup and a little bit on my face. But I'm just going in with that contour here. And I feel like it kind of wants to pick up my makeup instead of applying it. So they are working, they're just not working the way I want them to. Okay, I'm gonna grab some bronzer here. I always grab some bronzer before I move anywhere else on my face. I like bronzer around, basically where I put that suede, but I like the warmth that bronzer adds. I also like it as part of my blush. The other nice thing about Seint is my bronzer looks empty, but you can see around here, there's still some in there. And so the nice thing is you'll use 100% of the product. You're not losing it in a bottle. And it's also not gonna if this was a powder, it would just be crumbling apart. And so you get to use 100% of the products that you get. Okay, next I'm gonna add some more brightening, again using the e.l.f. brush, just to add a little bit of reflected light. I wanted a little more there, here. I need a little bit of June. This hormonal breakout's killing me right there. Okay, and then I'm going to pinch it into my brightening, and we're gonna go up and in and up. I do like this e.l.f. brush. I'm almost preferring it over the more expensive brush. It is hard to get. I mean, I would need to buy, to get what I need out of all of these, I would need at least 2, maybe 3 more brushes, to be honest. 2, maybe 3 more brushes. And that's, when you're buying traditional makeup brushes, those can be spendy to get one that's just for under eye concealing, it's just a lot of brushes. Let's see, okay, I would need a kabuki brush. I like a kabuki brush, which is a lot like this, just to give everything a final blend. So I'm gonna take my Chanel brush, which is immediately flaking off into my makeup. Okay, let's add some blush. First things first, because I have that discoloration on my cheeks, I'm gonna take Saint Tropez and I'm gonna put this on like a clown, right on the apples of my cheeks. I'm then gonna go into Sangria and put some pink on. I'm gonna start up here. Let's grab a little more. We're gonna start at the top and then I'm gonna bring it into my Saint Tropez. And I like the way that they work together, but this goes on. Oh, it's picking up my makeup. Oh my God, I have so many bristles stuck to my face. Oh, and in my makeup, okay. Getting into that pink. They feel very rough, whereas Saint brushes are so soft and I feel like they're more durable. For an expensive brush, this thing is shedding like a cat. My gosh, I have so many hairs stuck to my face. So here's my thoughts on this. I'm struggling. Okay, powder. I have oily skin, so I'm going to use this brush. I always start on the perimeter and bring it in. Okay, for an expensive brush by Chanel, I'm not trying to bash Chanel because I do love them. I mean, I have their perfume. This thing's falling apart. It's falling apart and it's not, and it's picking up the makeup. My discoloration that never pulls through is wanting to pull through. Okay, here's my thoughts. I don't like the final look. And these are colors I have used. If you've been with me for any amount of time, these are colors I use all the time. I always love. I mean, I have an ombre cheek tutorial with these colors and it's glorious. These colors go together so well, especially when you have cheek discoloration like I do, where you don't want it to pull through. I'm not loving my finish. Now, I am gonna say it's because of the brushes. My shoulder hurts, sorry. But here's why I don't. If you're going to have a brush and you don't want to invest in a $40 Saint brush, e.l.f. This by far out of these more expensive, I think I paid $30-something for this brush, $50 to $60 for this brush. It's insane what we'll spend money on. This e.l.f. brush was not that expensive, maybe $9. Okay, I do remember that these were expensive. So here's the thing. While I spent $30 and it's close to the price of these, it is one brush that does not do it all. The other thing is these brushes are intended for liquid foundation, concealers, and powders, so they're not needing to work as hard. I cannot believe an expensive brush like this was falling apart using just something like cream. Now with creams, there is a blending and I barely have to put pressure on these to get them to blend the makeup and there's no break off. I don't have bristles that I'm fishing out of my tins ever when it comes to the Saint brushes. So I feel that these are made for creams. They're meant for creams. And you can buy I like using two brushes, but again, I'm a Saint artist. So I have ways of getting them. I use a party link and I get free brushes. You can have one too. But these are meant, you can easily just have this one $40 brush to do it all, okay? This end is very similar to this e.l.f. brush. This end is bigger than my Chanel brush, but does what it could do. These two brushes together cost more than this. So I want you to think about that. You could just buy one brush and be done. We have an amazing brush cleaner, cleans and dries and sanitizes and conditions all at the same time. So they're not sitting overnight or longer, which yes, it does take longer for them to dry when you're using water. So I do think Saints are better. They're meant for the makeup. They're structured to handle these cream makeups. The traditional brushes just aren't. If you're going to use a traditional one and you don't want to spend the $40, go get an e.l.f. brush. I could potentially do my whole face with this brush. I could potentially, I think. I don't know. I think I could. I just feel like it was picking up product. And so my scarring is coming through. And if you've seen any of my other tutorials, it just doesn't. So I just don't think it gives the blend I like. Whereas Saint, you need such little pressure. That's why it's not picking up. It's blending and staying. So that's my 2 cents. It's probably not what you wanted to hear. Yes, you can, but Saints are gonna be better. You're gonna get a better finish. So if you're using traditional brushes with Saint Makeup, understand you're probably not going to get the finish you would get with one of these. So it's hard to decide if you'll love it without a Seint brush. You can. I would recommend an e.l.f. brush. You can. Do try and talk to me. So that's it. That's me and my opinion on traditional brushes with Seint Makeup. Have a great day.